The average for the last 6 months is just 72,000. That's not enough. Secondly, the U6 measure, which measures unemployment and unemployed, actually went up to 16.5%. And finally, the one I worry about most is teen unemployment, the 16 to 19-year-old. That went from 25% to 26%. So it's a better than expected report, but it doesn't get us out of this unemployment crisis that we have.
The private sector did relatively well compared to other months this month, but manufacturing was down. I'm not sure whether you've seen that number yet, and so we need to grow the labor force, and importantly, Tom, we need to grow labor income and to keep them working for longer hours during the week. The work week was up 0.1 hours, and that's good, and wages were up 0.2 cents, but we need to make them more profitable in order to provide a consumer sector that buys things and that grows the economy.
The job report is a good indication that we're going in the right direction, but we need to do more, obviously, and I do want to mention that there was a revise in the last 2 months, so we actually created in the last 2 months about 99,000 jobs.
What you're doing is you're taking out the double dippers kind of distribution end of this story, and the market's improving because now the probability of those recessions is really diminished, and we have economic growth. It's modest, it's good, just not the kind of growth we're used to in the past, but hey, we'll take it as it is today. The private sector is moving along, perhaps at a disappointing pace relative to historical expansions, but it still is economic growth.
We are going to gradually pick up from here. We think that the GDP numbers are picking up right now relative to the first half of the year. The first half of the year we were under 1% growth. We think the third quarter is going to be in the 2 to 2.5% range. And that's a notable pickup. We think that will show through into better job growth over time. I wouldn't go overboard with these numbers. These are solid but not spectacular numbers, but they are much better than the numbers that we saw last month, for example.
Although I welcome these numbers, they're better than they were. They're still, we've lowered our threshold so low on what's acceptable now. This still isn't enough to really bring down the unemployment rate or get us where we need to go in terms of out of that risk of recession territory.
It's a sigh of relief because it's better than the previous month, but unfortunately, it's still nowhere near good enough. I don't think there's a way to jumpstart consumption without having incomes grow. And my view is that the only way you get incomes to grow is get businesses to start hiring again. How do you get businesses to start hiring again? You have to have a positive investment climate. That's the only way we know that works.
Given the better job numbers, given the increase in hours worked, given the rebound in wage growth, I think it's pretty clear that the economy is not in recession, and the odds of recession seem a little bit lower today than they did yesterday.